Maybe crazy is not the fair thing to say. Your story to me is
unique.
From I was an athlete, played at University of Colorado. Go Buffs, forget the Longhorns.
I was heavily recruited. I almost went. When I was in school, there was a pipeline between California and Colorado.
For sure,
so they were number 3 on my list. And one of my childhood idols, Rashawn Salam, went to.
Oh yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. Heisman Trophy winner.
Exactly.
Same as you, brother.
Exactly. Yeah. From the crib.
Yeah, they did a lot of recruiting in Southern Cali, San Diego, LA. It used to be the mecca for CU football, and that's when we were good.
Yep.
And then they brought in a guy who was like, "Oh, we need everybody with good grades," and it just went. I knew CU was in trouble when we had white cornerbacks. I'm like,
that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you can have one, but when you got multiple,
on both sides, you can have one Jason Sehorn, but both, it's not good, man. Yeah, but the grades were good, but we sucked at football. But yeah, I would say from an athlete's perspective, I would say your story from an outsider's view is heartbreaking.
Yeah. Interesting. So which part of it?
It's heartbreaking because, right, you're a Heisman Trophy winner and one of the best football players in college football of all time, University of Texas. You have all this hype. You get drafted in the first round, 5th pick. You're a baller in the NFL, all-pro, led the league in rushing, which is insane.
Yeah.
But then the narrative on you is now, testing hot for marijuana.
Yeah.
Oh, he's this recluse. Like he drifted away. It's like, no, you guys pushed him away.
Yeah.
And you're at the forefront of marijuana, and they want to push these opiates and these painkillers. Which if you play any major football, whether it's college or pro, how opiates are the thing that's pushed on you, and they're not good, man.
Opiates and NSAIDs too. I had an ulcer at 19 from taking popping Advil.
Nuts.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I had one from ibuprofen. Man.
Yeah.
And it's just like
real.
It's real. And for me, it's like that's where it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Where you're like on the forefront. Where if you were to, let's say you get drafted in 2021, it's all good. Ricky's all good. Oh wow, he's such a smart guy. He's so educated. And back then I was like, no, dude, he's a fuck up.
Yeah.
He's this guy. He's causing problems in the locker room. It's like, no, I just don't want to do your opiates, man.
Yeah.
Like this isn't the move.
Yeah. Yeah,
is that fair to say, or am I off?
No, you're right on. And in a sense, it's heartbreaking, but in the larger picture, and I think another good example is Colin Kaepernick, where the truth is, as an athlete, a professional athlete, your heyday is going to be typically before you're 40.
Yes.
But in life in general, your heyday is when you're in your 50s.
Correct.
And so really, I look at professional sports as a platform. And it's about what you do with that platform. And to me, whether you're on practice squad and you make connections, that's a platform. Or whether you're all pro or Hall of Fame, someone like Tom Brady, it's still just a platform.
Yeah.
And it's what do you do with that platform? And so I feel like it was inadvertent. I didn't think it would revolve around cannabis, but it did. That would be my platform to do something bigger than just score touchdowns.
Yeah,
and I think now that in the NFL, no player will be suspended for using cannabis. I feel like, yes, it was heartbreaking, but it helped move something forward that I feel responsible, or at least partially responsible for.
100%. You should. Yeah, you're the Rosa Parks of that movement. For lack of better reference.
And I still got to 10,000 yards rushing, so I feel like I did enough in the NFL.
And that's what's heartbreaking to me. It's because your NFL career, you were a baller. He was a beast. But the narrative's like, oh, he was this problem and marijuana, testing hot all the time. It's like, no. All pro, you dumbasses.
Yeah. The story keeps going, and so to me, whatever you do in the NFL, to me, or as a professional athlete, or even in your 20s and 30s, it's a platform for what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
But it's tough, right? And I sent this article to Chin. It's tough because I think Marcellus Bennett, who played at Texas A&M.
I just saw that yesterday.
And is he not speaking facts?
He is.
I read this morning at 5 a.m. and I was fired up. I'm like, this dude is dropping freaking knowledge. And a lot of athletes should read this. But the problem is in the NFL, it's like, you know how it is, like your whole life when you coming up in San Diego being the star running back, your life is football, man. So it's like if you're not focused on that sport and, rushing for, 2,000 yards in the NFL, it's hard to do anything else. So it's like you have this short window to make as much money and do as much as you can in pro sports. So it's tough for these guys to parlay into something else. So they get done. And as Bennett was saying, he's like, you get done, man. It's like
you gotta start over.
Yeah.
But to me, there's a way to change that. Like, we forget that our entree into the NFL is at least 3, but up to 5 years in college. And the problem is, when I was growing up, they would say you got to have a plan B. You got to have a plan B. Plan B, for me, it's not a plan B. It's realizing, if you do make it to the league or whatever, what are you going to do with that? And so I think if guys use college to think about that and prepare themselves, thinking, okay, I want to use this platform to do so-and-so later in my life. How can I use this college experience to make connections, to take classes that are going to help me later on? So then while they're playing in the off seasons and doing other things, they can keep using those connections and developing something. So when they're done playing football, it's not start over. It's like a ramp where you're taking off. It's a launching pad.
Yeah.
And it took me my first retirement in that year off to learn that. And then the last 5 years of my career, that's what I was doing. And so when I retired, my goal was to have an indefinite NFL career where I got to choose when I walked away. And so it got to the point where I had so many other interests outside of football that, it was a hard choice, but I wanted to go do those things. And I felt like I was sacrificing too much to keep playing football.
Yeah, it's weird too, because I think GMs, when you go through the process of getting drafted and you interview with all the GMs, if you're not 100% into football, they go, we don't know how much he loves the game. It's like, no, I love the game, but I also love this. I love painting. I love hosting shows. I think hopefully with the GMs and the owners of the teams, they realize guys can do a bunch of different things. Look at Michael Strahan, man.
Well, I think the players have to set that precedent, because it's the same thing. But to me, looking back, I say I'd rather take less money, but go to a team in a situation that understands me and who I am, because it's going to improve the quality of my life. And to me, longevity meaningful longevity in any sport comes from quality of life.
Agree, 100%.
100%.
Yeah, because I think too, if you're not completely committed to football, you're getting not only backlash from the GM and the owners of the team, but the fan base too. So if you're out doing your stuff, and in the UFC, the narrative's changed. I don't know how much you follow the UFC, but in the UFC, there's guys like Daniel Cormier, there's other guys, Tyrone Woodley, who they're doing a ton of things. But DC's retired now, but he was a commentator.
Yeah.
He was doing all this other stuff. He had his gym. He has this foundation. Woodley's a rapper. He's hosting a show on TMZ, and he's still defending the title at the time. A lot of people are like, oh, we don't know how much he's into it.
Yeah.
But then when these guys are winning, it's like, oh, you can do both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the image of the Renaissance man as a professional athlete, as that starts to become more popular, you're gonna see more of that. Because for me, at the core of it, I went back to school after I retired, and I took this class on the history of sport. And so back in 1906, President Roosevelt called a conference at the White House to save football, because there had been 6 deaths in football that year, and colleges were talking about shutting it down. And he said, we have wars coming in the future, and we need something to help prepare leaders. And so at the core of the football tradition in this country is about preparing men to be leaders. And so I see football, and that environment and what you learn, the skills, how to deal with adversity, how to work together as a team, how to stay focused, how to train, how to buy into a philosophy.
Yeah.
All those things equip us to be successful in anything in life where we can apply those same principles.
How about when I got off stage at the Laugh Factory, right away you go, bro, I figured out what you look like. I'm like, what? This is in front of a bunch of other comics. I'm like, what? You're like, you look like a Rottweiler who got his shit together.
Oh, you do, bro. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, dude.
Grab that mic, son.
You do. Look, bro, look.